Alright, everybody. So, if you've been watching my content for a while now, you might have heard me mention something called PedoCon theory, right? You see, this idea, the PedoCon theory, is basically the idea that conservatives, who are like really dyed-in-the-wool conservatives, like very much like they're true believers, have a disproportionate likelihood of being pedophiles, because as we know, pedophilia is actually a core tenet of conservatism. And this only gets proven to be a, accurate theory day by day. Every single day I find another validation of this theory, and we're going to be going into another example of that now. After being called out by California Governor Gavin Newsom for apparently supporting legal child marriage for kids as young as 12, Missouri Republican Mike Moon doubled down on his controversial stance, at least when it comes to minors getting married to other minors. In a tweet responding to Newsom's accusations that he supported marrying off 12-year-old kids to adults, Moon said, "To be clear, I did not advocate for minors to be married off to adults. Check out my video below to learn the truth about this issue. Keep your California politics out of Missouri. Democrats will say whatever they can to make sure they can keep mutilating children." Newsom had shared a clip on Twitter from a House committee hearing in Missouri earlier this week, where an opponent of Moon accused him of supporting minors as young as 12 getting married to adults. During a Senate debate on a bill to ban gender-affirming care for trans youth, on Tuesday, Republican Peter Meredith, a Democrat, confronted Moon about his previous vote opposing a bill that would have prevented children as young as 12 from getting married to adults. So it's not that he'd expressed his support in 12-year-old kids marrying 12 adults. It was that he had literally opposed a bill that would ban 12-year-old kids getting married to adults, and had said that he's in favor of minors getting married to minors, and said, "Get your California politics out of Missouri." Oh my God, that is the most like conservative Southern Republican thing I've ever heard. Wait, you think I shouldn't be? You think it's fucked up that 12-year-olds should be able to marry another 12-year-old? Get your California liberal politics out of Missouri. God. I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want. In fact, I just double-checked. You voted on no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12 if their parents consented to it. So that's like arranged marriage of children. You said actually that should be the law because it's the parents' rights and the kids' rights to decide what's best for them. To be raped by an adult, Meredith said. And that was the law you voted on, or voted no to change it. Moon replied, "Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12? I do, and guess what? They're still married." That was his response. "Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12? I do, and guess what? They're still married." That was his response. That was his response to a Democrat saying, "Why did you vote no on a bill that would have banned 12-year-olds from being married off to adults?" His response was, and I quote, and I quote, "Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12? I do, and guess what? They're still married." That is the quote. Jesus. The Missouri Republican state senator published a video on YouTube accusing Democrats of, quote-unquote, desperately trying to discredit my name and reputation to prevent him from passing legislation that would limit trans youth's access to gender-affirming care. Moon claimed that the video was edited and he could understand... Oh yeah, here's the video. By the way, we'll watch the video very quick. He claims this clip was edited deceptively.
I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want. In fact, I just double-checked. You voted no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12 if their parents consented to it. You said actually that should be the law because it's the parents' right and the kids' right to decide what's best for them to be raped by an adult. Okay?
Do you know any kids who have been
With
married
marriage.
at age 12?
That was the law.
Do you know
You
any
voted
kids-
not to change it.
Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12?
I don't need to.
I do. And guess what? They're still married.
Gentlemen, I've heard you talk about parents' rights.
Moon claimed that the video was edited, and he could understand why the clip quote-unquote may lead to some misunderstandings. He said accusations that he supported child rape were misleading at best. Let me set the record straight, he said. I do not support adults marrying minors. In fact, if there's an instance in which an adult has recently married a minor in the state of Missouri, I'll make it a priority to remove and prohibit adults from marrying minors. He added, the vote mentioned was referring to House Bill 1630. This bill intended to raise the age at which minors can legally marry from age 16 to 17. As I contemplated the bill, I was reminded of a couple I'd met years before. When this couple was in their teens, actually preteens, they took actions that resulted in the girl becoming pregnant. The youngster's parents decided to allow the couple to marry. They weren't forced. Moon continued, so like the idea is that they want to make it so that like teenagers having sex who end up like they want to ban contraception, so when teenagers do have sex, they end up having a pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy, and that unwanted pregnancy, they want to force those kids into then getting married, because the younger they get married, the, more likely it is that divorce will never happen. We've seen how Steven Crowder has reacted to his own divorce. They think divorce should be illegal. They do not believe that a woman should be allowed to divorce them without their consent. Moon continued saying that the two went on living with their parents in different states, but when they were able to provide for themselves, they moved in together, and the couple is still married today. With this in mind, and because allowances for these extreme circumstances were not included in the language, I voted against the bill, Moon said. Meredith told Newsweek that a 12-year-old isn't old enough to sign a contract, to smoke, to drink, to drive, but Moon thinks they're old enough to get married and buy a gun. It's amazing he continues to dig in on this, but he keeps making the point clear. Defending child marriage is an individual freedom and parents' right, when there is zero reason to think a 12-year-old should ever be married, he said. But wanting government to ban medical care that is supported by the parents and doctors that know a child best and broadly accepted by the medical community and research. Meredith called Moon out of touch. Similarly, the entire Mississippi House GOP has voted repeatedly this year against any minimum age for a child to carry a firearm in public unsupervised. Currently, there is no minimum age there really is none in Missouri. Jesus. Guns are, of course, the number one cause of death for kids now, he said. They've fought red flag laws, begged for by the kids and teachers where a school shooting happened in my district in October, but they want to ban drag story time, end social and emotional learning programs at schools, and pass book bans at libraries. I'm so over these radicals claiming they are protecting kids. Yep. Time and time again, it seems like PedoCon theory keeps getting proven true. There's actually a video that came along with this article, I believe.
The latest attack came from an edited viral video of a remark I made in a House committee hearing. I understand this clip may lead to some misunderstanding, so let me provide some background context. In this video, an opponent to the bill stated that I voted against legislation that would prohibit a 12-year-old from marrying an adult. He went on to say that I supported adult child rape. This statement is misleading at best. Let me set the record straight. I do not support adults marrying minors. In fact, if there's an instance in which an adult has recently married a minor in this state of Missouri, I'll make it a priority to remove and prohibit adults from marrying minors. Furthermore, if a person is raped, no matter the age, the rapist should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. The vote mentioned was referring to House Bill 1630. This bill intended to raise the age at which minors could legally marry from age 15 to 17. As I contemplated the bill, I was reminded of a couple I'd met years before. When this couple was in their teens, actually preteens, they took actions that resulted in the girl becoming pregnant. The youngsters' parents decided to allow the children to marry. They weren't forced. However, because they were not mature and could not provide for themselves, they grew up with their families in different states. After a number of years,
By the way, marriage is a legally binding contract, and under no circumstances should people under the age of 18 be allowed to sign that contract. I'm sorry, but like the idea, you literally should not legally be allowed to get married if you are under the age of 18, in my opinion. It is like a very serious legal commitment. I don't know if you guys know this, but especially if you get married that young, like Republicans want you to. I mean, Republicans want to get rid of divorce. Like, they want to basically get rid of divorce. Like, they don't understand. I guess they do understand this, but I don't know how many of them understand the fact that when a divorce happens between a couple that has been married for like their entire adult life, like let's say they get married at 16 and then they get divorced at 25 or like 30, right? Later on in their life, at that point, there is a very, very high chance that they're like the man in the relationship is going to lose everything or lose half of everything, right? Because they built their wealth together. And most kids don't know what a prenup is. So in a lot of states, since they would have built their wealth together, if they got married as teenagers and then got divorced as adults, it would go really badly for the guy in most cases. So Republicans want to ban divorce because if they hold up this standard, then it's going to lead to a lot more dudes getting fucked over at divorces.
When the children became adults and were able to care for themselves, they began to living together. The couple is still married today. So with this in mind, and because allowances for these extreme exceptions were not included in the language, I voted against the bill.
Nice. No, don't autoplay. No! I don't care about the fucking monarchy. Get that shit out of here. How dare you try to pelt me with fucking royal family garbage. Yeah, PedoCon law. It gets proven true every time, doesn't it?